Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. This is Raja Omar on my channel RU Speaks. Raja Omar speaks for you for the subjects of Pakistan studies and global perspectives. And as we were doing the topics related to Pakistan studies 1, I mean the history and culture of Pakistan for the last few days, and we had already reached up to the events of 1939. And now yesterday I talked about the 4 marks questions of history from 1919 to 1939. So I'm going to stop the history portion over there, and now I'm switching to the global perspectives. So just to have the videos, the learning process for you all, do not forget to subscribe my channel RU Speaks. Raja Omar speaks for you. So today we're going to talk about the component 2, the individual report of the global perspectives, and we will talk about that what should be there in your individual report and how to write, and what is the role of your teacher regarding making your individual report. So first keep in mind that this is individual report. It means that it is purely your own task and the role of the teacher. I will explain each and everything over here, keeping in view the syllabus content and the marking scheme of the individual report in today's topic, right? So let's start. Here we have the component 2, individual report of global perspectives, and it is a 60 marks report, and very important factor that it is internally set assessment. So it means that there is no such exam, there is no such paper, but only a research report you are supposed to submit to your teacher, and that will be uploaded on the Cambridge website, Cambridge portal, for the marking, for the assessment. So externally marked by Cambridge. So it means that whatever the report you are going to submit, there is nothing to do with your teacher. Your teacher is not going to mark that report. That will be only submitted through your teacher to the Cambridge portal, and the Cambridge will mark your individual report. So candidates, they write an individual report on the topic from the topic list. So if I go up and show you that topic list, here is the topic list over here, and I have shown this one to you when I was discussing the component 1, the written paper. So when I was talking about the question 1, 2, 3 and 4, that how to attempt those questions of component 1, so I talked about all of these topics. So it means that you can be given the paper, I mean component 1, out of any of the 1 topics given over here, and whole of the paper of 70 marks would be from that topic. In the same way, for component 2, you have the liberty to choose any of these topics and to make your individual report on that topic. So this is how you have some sort of liberty in component 2, that you have your own choice, you have your own interest, that where you want to conduct research in which topic, so that in that way you can choose any of these topics and you can research on. So back to the point where I was. So here is me. The individual report must be based on one of the topics listed in the syllabus. Just explain the thing to you. With the guidance of their teacher, candidates choose one of the specified topics and identify an important and interesting global issue related to that topic. So it means that the important word is this one, the phrase global issue. So it means that you cannot talk about any local, personal or national issue, but you are supposed to talk about the global issue in that topic. The global issue the candidates choose should be one that divides opinion. It means that must be having multiple perspectives, that few people should be in favor of that, few should be against that, few should be having some other opinion apart from that, but must be related to that topic. So it means that the people must be having their own opinions about the single topic you have chosen for your individual report or research. So candidates devise a global research question. Again, very important thing, global research question. For example, if I say that the logging industry has brought the impact on the climate change, I mean the wood-based industry. So it is happening around the globe. Definitely the wood-based industry is everywhere in every country. So it means that that is bringing that climate change. So we are supposed to devise a question keeping in view the relationship between the logging industry and the climate change. So the question should be global and the impact should be global, and whole of the globe and whole of the world might be suffering from that. That is the most important thing. And it might be the issue of whole of the world, not of any of the country or some region or some smaller area. So keep in mind that your question should be really very much a research based question. Candidates use this question as the title of the report. So it means that the question should be mentioned over there right at the top of your individual report, and the report must be of 15 to 2000 words. In the individual report, candidates are assessed on the what you are supposed to portray over there in your individual report, so that you can be assessed well and you can be awarded with better grade in your individual report. That the skill of research, number one. Then how do you analyze different perspectives, whether what the people think, what the states and the countries they think, what the global organizations think, what your local authorities think. Then how do you evaluate out of all these perspectives? How do you come to the conclusion that what actually had happened and what should be done in the next phase? And then the communication, that how do you get this whole of the research and how do you communicate to get the research done. So these are the four things on which you are assessed. And again, a refresher: research, analysis, evaluation, reflection, and communication. Reflection was left, that what was your personal learning out of this research, what was your perspective before the research, whether your perspective got authenticated after the research or your perspective got changed. So it means that what you have learned out of that research, that is what we call reflection. So you are supposed to explain that one, and it has marks over there in the marking scheme. I will show you that marking scheme as well. So candidates should focus their initial research on identifying and exploring the context of the topic chosen from the topic list. They should then select a global issue of importance, interest, with present day impact. This is what I was saying, that you are supposed to devise such a question that must be having some global impact and some global interest over there. And it should be in the recent times. It should not be the past times or outdated sort of topic. You are not supposed to devise such question which is really very old one. The issue chosen should be one that raises an ethical dilemma or causes conflict, damage, difficulty or hardship, or simply leads to disagreement. I mean, must be a debatable question, that must be having some issue highlighted over there and must be having some sort of disagreement over there, that the people might be having different views and opinions on that question, right? So that sort of question you can devise. Candidates should research a range of different perspectives on the global issue, right? For example, you can talk about the global issue And in this one, you are supposed to talk about the global perspectives. I mean, what the global organizations, they think about that. What are the perspectives given by the global organizations regarding that issue, and whether those perspectives given by those global organizations, they are viable and acceptable for the states or not, or whether whatever the opinions or the perspectives given by that organization, whether they are acceptable to the states and countries or not. So, and what are the views of the other countries on that particular perspective of the global organizations. So you are supposed to create a relationship between them, so that you might be having the wide range of perspectives with you regarding that particular topic. The perspectives researched, explored, and presented should include local and or national and global. So it means that here we have the choice between the local and the national. If you put local and national both, still okay. But if you put whether local or national, still okay. But what we prefer, and global, that is must. This one is must. You are supposed to put in this one surely. And what we recommend to the students, that they can skip out the local one and they are supposed to put in the national perspective and global perspective over there in their individual report. And we do not recommend, as they might be consuming a lot of word count, and you may not be able to reach out the overall research skill and overall to the conclusion of the whole of the report within 2000 words. So what we say to the students, that they can skip out the local perspective, as when you give your own perspective over there in your reflection and conclusion, being the person of some locality, your opinion is considered as the personal perspective and the local perspective as well. So this is how you can say that your perspective is considered somehow as local perspective and personal perspective as well. So that is included over there. So not necessary to consume your word count over there in main report by explaining local perspectives independently or exclusively. That would consume your space and your word limit and even your energy as well. At each level, different perspectives should be included, right? For example, at the local level, the report should include the different perspectives of local farmers and local politicians, right? So, for example, if we talk about the national perspective regarding this same issue, you are supposed to explain the Ministry of Food and Agriculture perspective, that what is said by it and what is said by the organization of farmers. So in this way, the perspective of the ministry, that would be one sort of perspective, and the perspective of the organizations of farmers, the organization of farmers at the national level, that is the other sort of perspective that to be included. So in the same way, on the national level, if we talk about this one ministry, so it means that this is the perspective of the state, country, so national level. So in the same way, on the global level, the perspective of the global organizations, and in comparison with the overall perspectives of the states and the countries collectively. So candidates should engage with these perspectives, demonstrate that they understand the argument, reasoning, or claims upon which these perspectives are based on. Candidates should also demonstrate that they understand why different people have different perspectives on the single issue or single problem. Candidates should analyze the issue by considering the reasons of conflict or disagreement, causes of problems and consequences impact of the issue. So what we focus on most of the time, that there should be the causes and consequences over there in that individual report. Causes and consequences at the global level, causes and consequences at the national level. While explaining the global perspective, you are supposed to explain the causes and consequences at the global level, and while explaining the causes and consequences on the national level, you are supposed to talk about the national perspective. National perspective must have the causes and consequences at the national level, at the state level. So now it should have possible courses of action. There should be, for example, if I say in whole of the report, you are explaining these 4 solutions to the issue or the problem, and then what should be the next step? A single course of action to change, improve, or resolve the issue. While after explaining all these, you are supposed to select one out of these that is having the greatest impact, and that solution or that course of action may bring change in the issue, and that issue can be resolved primarily or importantly because of that action taken. The individual report should be presented as a structured essay of 1500 to 2000 words. It should not exceed 2000 words. This word count does not include the bibliography or reference list. I mean, bibliography will never be the part of the word count. So it means that it would be below the individual report, and even before submission, we make the separate file for the bibliography, and we do not include that bibliography along with the individual report, but we cut it from there and we paste it in another MS Word file, and we save it with the name bibliography, and 2 files are uploaded, one individual report and the other one is bibliography. So it means that the bibliography, they never come under the word count. Okay, the essay should start by explaining the issue research so that it is clear it has some global impact, even if it has different impacts in different places or for different people. It should also be clear what the different perspectives are over there in that issue. These do not have to be opposing perspective, but they must be clearly different. So people might be thinking, like, if we say this can be done like this and this can be like this as well, so it means that there are 2 things can be over there. This is the cause of this issue. This can be another cause. So it means that we may have different causes, different consequences, and different solutions, right? They may not be contradictory, they may not be conflicting, but they might be different. So causes and consequences of the issue should be presented and analyzed in depth. Different courses of action should be considered. And one chosen as most appropriate or effective. This is what I have explained, that there can be many solutions to the problem, and one should be the most significant. You are supposed to focus on that one as well. You are supposed to mention these ones, all 4, but you are supposed to pick out of those 4, considering it the most appropriate to resolve that issue. So explain that one in depth. The chosen course of action should be described in detail with an explanation of how it could be implemented and what its impact would be. That how quicker the desired results would be achieved, how quicker the issue would be over, and how larger the impact would be, and how long lasting the solution will be. So all these things should be over there. The candidates should explicitly cite all materials used in the essay with a clear referencing system, I mean bibliography. But very important sentence is this one, I highlighted with red. There is no preferred method of referencing. So it means that you can use any of the referencing method, whether it is APA, whether it is MLA, whether it is Harvard or any other referencing style, acceptable. All are acceptable. There are no hard and fast rules regarding making the really very professional sort of bibliography not required. The most important factor is the conducted research, not the referencing style. So whatever style you're using, that is okay for Cambridge. Candidates should, and very important sentence was that whatever you are using over there in your report, that should be having the reference. Whatever you have taken from online sources should be referred to those, so that to prevent plagiarism. If you will not, that will come in plagiarism, and that will be a greater penalty on you. Candidates should evaluate the evidence presented and their sources, explaining their value of the research and whether or not the sources are reliable or credible. What we say that what we call it the source evaluation. Sources, whatever the sources you are using through your bibliography, you are supposed to explain them, you are supposed to justify them, you are supposed to authenticate them, that whatever the sources you have used, they are reliable and they are credible and they are most appropriate related to your research. That is most important thing. Candidates should present their own views on the whole issue, I mean the reflection, their research findings, that what came up with you, personal learning of the students, and other perspectives, that what other point of view was in your mind, and that you can include over there in your conclusion. They should conclude by answering their own question in their own words. With the help of your own perspective, you can give answer to that question in the conclusive paragraph. So, role of the teacher. Number one, the candidates should not be taking help in writing the individual report directly from the teacher. What is the role of the teacher? The teacher should be explaining the things to you, can be helping you to draft a good question, that how a good question can be formulated, and what should be the content, what should be the categories, introduction, global perspective, national perspective, possible course of action, sources evaluation, reflection, and conclusion. All these should be the headings. What is the role of the teacher? To explain all those things, but not helping you to conduct research, searching the websites for you, or suggesting you that you are supposed to look into these websites, you will get your data over there. But it should be left on the student, that this can be done by student directly. Students must learn that they must be working independently, right? The teacher should guide the students that it is their individual work, and they must be doing their research, working on their IRs by themselves. Then identify a suitable area of research fitting their own interest, enthusiasm, and skills, and giving scope for different perspectives. All these are to be taught by the teacher. Formulate a global research question. The teacher should guide that how to formulate a good research question. That should be global question. Develop research and organizational skills, telling you that how to make the bibliography, and that is a greater learning, and very especially using MS Word, that how to make the bibliography, that must be taught by the teacher. Then select site and reference source appropriately, that how to search for the appropriate websites, or the resources or the books or the magazines or journals, whatever. Teacher is supposed to guide the students to search for those, but not search for them themselves. Refine report writing skills so that they can cover all the required criteria within the 1500 to 2000 words. So all the components of the IR should be over there. For example, intro should be there. I mean, right at the top, question should be there. Then intro, then global perspectives, and in these one, causes and consequences, then national perspective, causes and consequences at the national level, and then course of action, and then sources of evaluation, source evaluation, and then reflection, and in the end, conclusion. So these are the components of IR, and teacher must be supervising the students that all these components must be over there in their individual reports. Teacher should help resolve any problems encountered during the research, give regular and supportive feedback to maintain the candidates' momentum and motivation, provide opportunities for candidates to work independently using reference material as appropriate, monitor candidates' time management, that they must be completing their individual report in due course of time so that they might not be lagging behind and must not be creating problems for themselves regarding the submissions. Teachers may carry out all the above and the class as a whole in small focus groups and with individual candidates. So teachers can guide the students as a whole in smaller groups or as individuals as well, one by one. So that can be done. So now coming to very important point. Once candidates start to research and write their report in the ways set out above, I mean, after getting all the guidelines, the teachers should not intervene and should not attempt to change the direction of the research of the students. So it is purely the students' work. Whatever they are doing, that will be submitted to the Cambridge without correcting it, without changing it, without changing the direction of the research or changing the topics or the questions. That cannot be and should not be done by the teacher. So supervising work, coursework of the students, it will only be the supervision of the teacher not doing that, right? Coursework must be candidates' own unaided, unsupportive work, should not be getting the pure form of support in the form of making that report, but should be done by the student himself or herself. The teacher must be able to authenticate that the work is the candidate's own and it is not copied, it is not someone's else work, but students' own work. A general discussion on the progress of the coursework is a natural part of the teacher-candidate relationship. Yes, students and teachers, they can discuss that how the research is going on, in what direction. That is okay, but that should not be the teacher should not be guiding them that this was wrong, you are supposed to do it like this. But teacher can guide them that how to improve that research and that students can do it. So a brief summative comments on progress. So it means that the specific comments should not be given on each sentence or paragraph, but overall the comments can be given on whole of the report. So the teachers, they can support the candidates by reviewing their work before it is handed for final submission. It means that support is the lighter word. So it means that teachers are not supposed to guide, but just to support, that they are supposed to review their work in the form of the individual report before final submission, so that the best form of individual report must be going to the Cambridge for marking. So teachers can do this orally or through the written feedback. Teachers should not correct or edit draft or the coursework of the students. Candidate leads the discussion and makes the suggestions for any amendments by himself or herself, rather than those amendments should be specifically told by the teacher to correct the individual report. Teachers must not give detailed advice to individual candidates or groups of candidates. Just simplified, generic, summative sort of guidelines are enough. So this is how we are done with the overall uh, individual report, that how it should be. Now I'm going to be on the marking scheme of the individual report over here. You can see that this is the generic marking scheme, and it is of the October-November 2024, the most recent one available with us online. And table A, level descriptor for component 2 individual report, assessment objective 1, research, analysis and evaluation, that will be of 40 marks. As I told you that out of the whole of the individual report, the marks they are distributed, those 60 marks, like this. Let me explain first. Over here you can see that the marking instructions: assessment objective 1, that is the research, analysis and evaluation, they carry 40 out of 60 marks. And reflection, the students must be writing the reflection, that what was their personal learning and what were the findings of the whole of the research, and what came up with their own perspective, that whether their perspective got authenticated or the perspective changed. So that is a 5 marks. A small paragraph would be enough for it. So this is 5. And then the communication factor, as collaboration is not there in the individual report, but it is the part of the team project component 3. So it means that all these 15 marks, they are for communication, that how the candidate is conducting the research over there, and how candidate is explaining different perspectives to communicate well with the people, to explain different ideas and different things out of that research. So 15 marks for that. So 40 plus 5 of reflection and plus 15 of communication. This is how it come up with 60 marks of your individual report. And out of that, now talking about the assessment objective 1, that is the research, analysis and evaluation, and the candidate's individual report must be based on one of the topics specified in the syllabus for component 2 individual report, already explained. And students should be stick to level 5, the highest one, to attain these much marks out of the assessment objective 1, that carries 40 marks out of 60. So it means that the focus should be this one. What to write? The candidates formulates a focused global question that can be answered from consideration of the perspectives, local and or national and global, already explained, and different points of views are also over there in that one. In answering the question, the candidate must have researched and analysis a balanced range of relevant information from different perspectives. I mean, global perspective should be there, national perspective or local perspective should be there, and there should be the possible course of action. Analysis in depth, the cause and consequences should be there over there of relevant issues, and makes pertinent, well thought out and successful comparisons between the perspectives. Proposes well structured and relevant courses of action, the solution to the issue, drawing clear and fully supported conclusion. Evaluates sources of information, source evaluation already explained while explaining the course, making 3 or more appropriate and developed points of evaluation. Then not supposed to be focused on these ones, as our focus is to attain maximum marks out of the assessment objective 1, that was the research, analysis and evaluation. So be focused on level number 5. Do not be going to the lower levels, as these levels are not of the individual report, but these levels are of you people, that if you will be at the lower levels, definitely you might be getting less. If you are at the highest or the top level, you must be getting these much marks, or if you are not having the good report of level 4, you might be getting 25 to 32 marks. If further lower, not recommended, you might be getting 17 to 24 marks out of 40. And further lower, level 2, you might be getting only 9 to 16 marks out of 40 assessments for objective 1. And when you haven't done anything good in your report, you might be getting only 1 to 8 marks out of 40 in assessment objective 1. Then you are supposed to be explaining the reflection, that what was your personal learning and what you have learned out of your research. Then 5 marks are allocated for it. That is the assessment objective 2, that is reflection. Then here are the 5 marks. 5 out of 5 will be given if you are at the top level. Justifies personal perspective or perspectives using full evidence and reasoning. If you explain your own personal perspective well, with giving some evidences or some examples, with the help of some good reasoning, you will be awarded 5 marks. And justifies personal perspective using some evidences. Here we have full evidence. Some evidence and reasoning, then 4 marks out of 5. Justifies personal perspective using some evidence or reasoning, whether evidence or reasoning. Over here, both must be there. Over here, both must be there, but fully explained, then 5. If some explained to some extent, 4. And if only evidence is available or only reasoning is available, then 3 out of 5. Some justification of personal perspective using some evidence or reasoning. So here comes the some justification. So 2 marks out of 5. Limited justification of personal perspective, only 1 mark, and 0 mark if not really very much credible answer or content is given. Then again, you are supposed to focus to the highest level, that is level 5, to attain these 5 marks. So 45 marks done, 40 of the assessment objective 1 and 5 of the assessment objective 2 reflection. Now here we have the assessment objective 3, that is communication. 15 marks are allocated for it. And again, you are supposed to be at level 5, the top level, and you are supposed to be focusing on these 3 bullet points to attain these much maximum marks. The report is very well structured, cohesive and comprehensive. Relevant arguments, evidence and perspectives are presented clearly and effectively. Citations and referencing of sources are in a consistent format, and they are complete, and all references are given, and bibliography is really well structured and well prepared. So if all these things are there, then you will be awarded with 13 to 15 marks. So at times, when if all these things are available, then full 15. If something is missing, like some relevant arguments or lacking some evidence or some perspectives are not clearly presented, then you might be getting 13 marks out of 15. This is how the marking is done. So again, not suggesting the lower levels, as the focus is the top level to attain the maximum marks 15. So it means that 40 marks for assessment objective 1, that is the research, evaluation and analysis, and then 5 marks for reflection and 15 marks for your assessment objective 3, that is the communication. This is how the marking scheme is, and you are supposed to work accordingly to come up with the really very good individual report, and try to utilize this summer vacation to complete your individual report, as you must be saving your a lot of time of your component 3, that is the team project, when you will come back to school after summer break to start the team project of your global perspectives component 3. So just to ease up your things, it is must that you are supposed to complete your individual reports during your summer break. This is all from my side today. Do not forget to subscribe my channel RU Speaks, as I am speaking for you. This is Raja Umar. Thank you so much. Allah Hafiz.